Buenas tardes, DC. How's everyone doing today? My name is Emmanuel Manny Macedo, and I'm a Students Demand Action volunteer from Los Angeles, California. I joined Students Demand Action in the summer of 2019.
What's up, John?
I wanted to use my voice to educate people about the realities of gun violence in America.
Okay.
I started by just talking to my family. Originally, they would hear a gunshot and pass it off as a firework. Now they hear something, and they're conscious of what's really going on in our community. Now I'm here to ask our senators to listen. Escúchanos. Listen to us. When I heard about the tragedy in Uvalde, Texas, I was visiting my old high school. To see the news of another school shooting while I was back at my school was surreal. At first, I was in shock, but then as more news came out, I felt my stomach sink. It is well known that communities of color already bear the brunt of gun violence in this country. But often, we don't think about the impact on Latinx communities. Latinx people are twice as likely to die by gun homicide and 4 times as likely to be wounded by an assault with a gun than white people. And devastatingly, Latinx children and teens, like myself, are 3 times more likely to be killed by a gun than our white peers. From gun homicides, police shootings, and a spike in gun suicides, to hate crimes like the mass shootings in El Paso and in Orlando at Pulse nightclub, still we see no action. So today, I'm left wondering, how? How, in a country like the United States, are we willing to sit back and let gun violence be something we grapple with every time we go to school, to the hospital, to movie theaters and concerts? How do we accept it as normal to live and die like this in a country that is meant to be a beacon of freedom in the world? ¿Cómo aceptamos que es normal vivir y morir así en un país que pretende ser un faro de libertad en el mundo? How many more of us have to die to get the attention of those in office? How many more funerals do we have to attend? How many more rest in peace shirts do we have to wear? How many more murals do we have to put in our neighborhoods for lawmakers to do their jobs and protect our families? We cannot become desensitized. It is important to name what happened in Uvalde and what is happening in our communities. Everyone deserves to feel safe in school, at the grocery store, and in our neighborhoods, no matter our race, immigration status, or zip code. Todos merecen sentirse seguros en la escuela, en el supermercado y en nuestros vecindarios, sin importar nuestra raza, estado migratorio, o código postal. And that is exactly why we are here today, enfrente y presente, to let the world know that this is our fight too, and to ask our senators to listen to us. Entonces, mi gente, con la fuerza de nuestra comunidad, with our community behind us, con el coraje que tenemos para parar esta violencia, with the anger to stop this violence, de pueblo a pueblo vamos a decirles, from town to town we say, no podemos ignorar, don't look away. Gracias y que Dios los bendiga. Thank you.
Thank you, Manny. My name is Avery Hamill. I'm a student at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And I'm Ella McCutcheon. I'm a student at Frankfort High School from Frankfort, Kentucky.
We're Students Demand Action volunteers, and we're counting on our senators to join us and take action.
No one, and especially not kids, should have to go through life fearing gun violence. But in Texas, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky, more kids die by guns than by any other means. Kids like the 19 second, third, and fourth graders who were shot and killed at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde.
Or kids like De'Ari Thomas, who was just 18 months old when he was shot and killed in an apparent drive-by shooting in Pittsburgh.
Or young adults and activists like Travis Nagdy. After Louisville police shot and killed Breonna Taylor, he was leading protests for Black lives in the city when he was shot and killed at only 21.
Senators,
Please act.
don't look away! Don't look away! Don't look away!
Senators, we need action to save our lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ella and Jayla. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He
He's been a champion for gun safety throughout his career, and he's working tirelessly to get life-saving gun legislation across the finish line in the Senate. Please welcome Senator Blumenthal.
Thank you all. What do we want to say to the United States Senate? Don't look away. Look away. Don't look away. I want to hear it even louder. Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away. You know, I've been talking to some of the students who are here. That is a sight worth 1,000 of my words. You've heard the old adage, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Senators, colleagues, whether you're Republicans or Democrats, you can't look away. You can't do this or this. You can't close your eyes or your ears to what's happening in America. And you have to listen and see the voices and faces that are here, because these students speak for America. They speak for America, and they are going to make a difference to all of my colleagues, but to Republicans, let me be very blunt. We're at a put up or shut up moment. We need to act, and we need to act now. Seize this moment of opportunity. Senator Murphy and I'm about to introduce him, have been working on a bipartisan measure. It won't go as far as we like. I still have very open minds about what we will be able to do, very clear-eyed about what is possible. We're going to keep working and trying as long and hard as possible, but we need something real and meaningful, something more than just window dressing or face saving, because America demands real and meaningful action, as you do right now. So I just want to thank every one of you for being here today. I talked to a couple of students who told me about the multiple times that their schools are locked down. One of the students here is from Philadelphia, where just over the weekend people lost their lives. 4 people died in a shootout on their streets. We can't allow this kind of gun violence to become the norm. Your being here sends a really powerful message. Never doubt for a moment that you are inspiring people to listen and see and hear what's happening in America. You are our future. And we need your conscience. We need your caring. And thank you for making a difference. Never doubt that you are, and please keep telling us. I want to hear it again. Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away. And now I want to introduce my colleague from Connecticut, Chris Murphy, who is working with us and me and has been a tireless champion, both of us as a team, in the last 12 years that we've served in the Senate together. Chris Murphy.
Are we gonna make some noise this week? Listen, here's what I know, guys. Listen, I'm so fired up that you are here because I'm a student of history, and I know that if you go back in the history books, every single great social change movement in this country has been led by young people, right? Has been led by young people, right? If you want to be successful as a change agent, then you have to have young people, you have to have students in the lead, whether it was the anti-war movement, the marriage equality movement, the civil rights movement, right? It has been young people and students that have been at the front in this country. We will not accept it here in the United States of America. We will not stop working. We will not stop fighting until every community, every neighborhood, every school in this country is a safe place. And so I am so excited that you are here, because I know that what we are building is one of those great social change movements. I know that what you are part of right now is going to be written about in the history books someday. The status quo, it sticks. It doesn't move, right? The gun industry, the status quo, it's powerful. But we're powerful too, aren't we? Right? We got more people on our side, right? We have the momentum because the country is not going to accept nothing as the answer, as has been the answer, shooting after shooting. This country can't look away from what you have to go through as kids. This country cannot look away as our schools and our neighborhoods become killing fields. We are in very real discussions right now to try to craft a bill that will make a difference. And the only way that we are going to get that across the finish line is for all of you to be persistent. For every single one of you that's here today to go home and recruit a couple more of your friends to be part of this cause, right? To decide that you're going to do one small thing every single day, at least for the next 30 days as this debate happens, to make a difference. That you're going to make one phone call, that you're going to write one letter, that you're going to post one thing on social media. If you do that every single day, if you find 4 or 5 other friends who are going to do that every single day, there is no way that the people in the building behind me can ignore you. You can make a difference. It's up to you. It's up to you. And so let me say from the bottom of my heart, as one of the people in the room for these negotiations, thank you. Thank you for standing up, for leading, for telling my colleagues here that they can't afford any longer to pretend this isn't happening. They can no longer look away from this carnage. We have an army of senators and congressmen that are going to help try to get this across the finish line. Students demand action, moms demand action. Thank you for your leadership. I now have the honor of introducing you to somebody who has been a long-time leader in this fight, someone who is leading the fight in the House and the Senate to ban these high-capacity magazines, right? These killing instruments. Senator from New Jersey, my friend, Senator Bob Menendez.
Well, let me thank Senator Murphy, who is a tireless champion on this regard, got up on the Senate floor and pricked the conscience of the Senate, and I believe the negotiations he's leading hopefully will give fruit. It'll be a beginning, and I want to salute him. Let's salute Senator Chris Murphy for it. Let me start by thanking Every Town for Gun Safety for hosting the event, for advocating for gun reform today. We thank you for using your voice to speak for those who are no longer with us, for those who are recovering from wounds all across our country. Moreover, for all those who forever carry with them the scars of gun violence. This past weekend alone, there were 10 mass shootings. Just days after the senseless murder in the supermarket, 2 teachers and 19 children killed in cold blood in their classrooms, we come together to honor at least a dozen more Americans who were shot and killed over the weekend. Every single one of them leaves behind family members who will never be whole again. How can we possibly claim the mantle of the greatest country in the world if elected officials simply stand by? They cannot look away, and we won't let them. How can we live in a society from a life drive a car, not agree to even simple background checks for assault weapons capable of committing mass murder? It's unconscionable. And it goes against the fiber of everything that we should stand for as a country, which is why I want to be abundantly clear. Every single mass shooting is the result of a policy failure. Guns, especially assault weapons equipped with high-capacity magazines. I voted for the assault weapons ban when I was in the House of Representatives, one of the best votes I ever took. I am proud of my F record with the NRA, and I hope to keep it. But high-capacity magazines is about high-capacity killing, nothing else. They don't belong in our schools, in our supermarkets, in our movie theaters. They have no places in our houses of worship or our workplaces. They don't belong in our streets, full stop. And those who seek to kill Americans with such weapons do not have greater rights than our nation's children, to whom we owe a precious obligation to protect. And that obligation requires more than thoughts and prayers. It requires action. Today, action is what it requires. We need the Senate to pass legislation like the one being negotiated by Senator Murphy that can expand background checks, that can raise the minimum age to buying a semi-automatic weapon, that can enact red flag laws. I would go further. But as long as we can break the stalemate and begin to move forward, we can have progress. And any measure that saves one life is well worth it. So there's simply no earthly reason for Congress to fail to act on measures that are supported by overwhelming majorities of the American people. So when the Senate reconvenes in an hour, I, for one, refuse to accept business as usual. We need to have votes on these issues, and we need to do it now. Let me finally close on a thought and say a very brief words in Spanish. I have 3 grandchildren. I lived in a town that grew up in a town that was very closely knit, like Uvalde. It was over predominantly Latino. And I cannot imagine that an active shooter drill is the normal at school for my granddaughter and for other children. That cannot be our legacy to the next generation of Americans. Así que simplemente quiero decir, estamos aquí hoy porque tenemos que terminar con la violencia de armas. No hay necesidad de tener armas de asalto, no hay necesidad de tener cartuchos de alta capacidad, no hay razón por qué no podremos tener un reviso universal de todo eso que quieren comprar una arma. No podemos dejar de mirar a lo que está pasando. Actualmente tenemos que actuar en el Senado de los Estados Unidos y tenemos que tener un voto esta semana. Y eso es lo que estamos tratando de hacer. With that, I have a tremendous colleague in the United States Senate who sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee and has been a powerful voice, a passionate voice, so that we can make this happen. And he is my colleague from New Jersey, Senator Cory Booker.
Hello, everybody! Hello, everybody! This is incredible to see right here at our nation's capital in this sacred civic space. We are assembling like generations before who took change to Washington and did not wait for it. I am so proud that you all understand that the way we make change in this country has not been a bunch of senators on the floor like me. Back in the 1920s, it wasn't a bunch of guys coming there, hey, huddle up, fellas, let's give women the right to vote, all right? Okay, break. No, that's not how change happens. Change happens when we make it happen. Change happens through protest, through activism, through work, through voting, through doing the things that are necessary to make our democracy work. Because it has been too many years that this crisis has not been on the front of the agenda of Washington. too many years where we've watched the killings in our country continue. I've known too many people that have been died by gun violence. Too many young people in my home community of Newark, New Jersey. Lives cut short by murder, by guns that should not be on streets like ours. But I know something from our history, and that's why I'm so glad to see you all here. Frederick Douglass said it. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Well, today we demand change. We demand progress. We demand background checks that are comprehensive. We demand a ban on assault-style military weapons. We demand flat red flag laws. We demand gun licensing. We demand us living up to our creed as a country. That we are a nation that believes in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You cannot have liberty when you're chained to fear that your school or your mosque or your synagogue or your park or your church or your grocery store can become a killing field. You can't have liberty when you have children in our schools who get the implicit message, hey, we can't protect you, so we're gonna teach you how to hide. You can't have liberty when the strongest nation on the planet Earth leads the planet Earth in the number of its people dying due to gun violence during times of peace. We are fighters for liberty. We are fighters for freedom. We're fighters for the pursuit of happiness that has been stolen from too many people in too many places. And so I want to tell you all right now, I believe in America. I believe that there's nothing wrong with our country that can't be solved by what's right with our country. And you all today are what's right about our country. You all today are not waiting for hope. You know what the true definition of hope is. Hope is the active conviction that despair will never have the last word. So I know a lot of people are hurting today. I know a lot of folks are grieving today. I know a lot of people are asking how can we not make change? But I am proud to see the people here that are not just stepping back and asking how or why. You are making the decision that you will be the answer. You will be the hope. You will be the promise of a better day. And so I end to you with one of my great heroes. My greatest heroes are not the people that serve in the Capitol. I'm friends with a lot of folk and admire and look up to a lot of people. But my heroes are all American activists, people that in the face of hurt and pain found a way to keep going, people who fall down or get knocked down but get back up, people who know that you will face many defeats but you must never be defeated, people that know that the power of the people is greater than the people in power. So I end with one of those activists, an artist of activism, a man named Langston Hughes, who even though he saw the worst of this country, even though he saw the hate of this country, he never stopped loving America, the promise of America, the possibilities of America, and most importantly, loved Americans. He never let hate or violence turn him away from his steadfast activism, and we must remember that. Martin Luther King said what we have to repent for is not just the vitriolic words and violent actions of the bad people, but the appalling silence and inaction of the good people. We here have to wake up the good folk who aren't voting on this issue, who are sitting on the sidelines of this issue, who aren't here on the arena like you all. And so for that I end with the words of Langston Hughes, who said so proudly, "Oh, let America be America again. The land that never has been yet, but yet must be, the land where everyone is free. The poor man, the Indian, the Negro, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must make our mighty dream live again. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. You all are going to make this country live up to its credo, that we will be a nation of peace, that we will be a nation free from gun violence, that we will be a nation that loves its children so much that it's willing to put down the love of guns, the love of money, and the love of power. That is what's going to make America. You will make America. Thank you. God bless you. Freedom, peace, liberty, and love. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Booker. My name is Ayan Page. I'm a student at Louisiana State University from New Orleans.
I'm Jacoby Mitchell. I'm a student at Clemson University from Latson, South Carolina.
And my name is Madison Miller. I'm a student at Bangor High School from Bangor, Maine.
We are Students Demand Action volunteers, and we're counting on our senators to join us and take action.
We shouldn't have to go through this. We should have to go through our lives worrying that we will be shot and killed. No one should.
But in this country, more kids die by guns than any other means. Kids like Octavia Young from Wells, Maine. Her relatives described her as the light of everyone's life. And at only 2 years old, she was just learning to walk when gun violence took her life.
Or kids like Byron Kelly Jr. His mom, Carla, told a story about a conversation they had before gun violence stole his life. Byron loved to pray, and his mom asked Byron to say a prayer at her service when she passed. She's still here, but at just 13 years old, Byron was shot and killed in New Orleans as he was walking to the store to meet a friend.
Or kids like Knowledge A. Sims. His family described him as an incredible, caring 7-year-old. He was shot and killed in his home in Columbia.
Senators, please act.
Don't look away! Don't look away! Don't look away!
Senators, we need action to save our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison, Jacoby, and Ian. I'm now happy to introduce a Students Demand Action leader and a member of the Students Demand Action National Advisory Board, Avery Hamill.
Thank you, Addie. My name is Avery Hamill, and I'm a member of the Students Demand Action National Advisory Board, as well as a volunteer leader out of Philadelphia. Just this 3 fatally on South Street in Philly. They were at bars, at restaurants, just living their lives. But now it had all been shattered. I'm here today because I've had enough. I belong to a generation that has been forced to grow up living in fear of gun violence, a generation that has been marked by school shootings, mass shootings, and shootings in our communities that don't make national headlines every single day. I belong to a generation of kids who have been taught to stay quiet and out of sight during active shooters. How to stay alive when the shooting starts. A generation of kids who have to live in a country where guns are our leading cause of death. Shooting after shooting, time after time, the sequence of events stay the same. Tragedy strikes, lives are stolen, communities are outraged, and every single time, lawmakers sit on their hands, offering us thoughts and prayers, then turning a blind eye. Or worse, they actively work to further weaken our gun safety laws. We won't accept it anymore. I graduated high school this past Friday, and in the fall I'm starting school at the University of Vermont. But I'm scared, because thanks to the inaction of lawmakers, places that should be safe are never truly safe. Every time I set foot on a school campus, gun violence is never far from mine. It's not just on school grounds, it's at our grocery stores, at our places of worship, at commencement ceremonies and graduation parties. It's everywhere. It's more than others, including Black and Brown and the LGBTQ community. Even as we honor Pride this month, we are fast approaching the 6-year mark of the shooting at Pulse nightclub. And we're reminded of the hate-fueled gun violence that impacts our community every single day. I refuse to accept that this is the way things have to be. I refuse to let future generations of kids grow up like we have, living in constant worry that any day could be their last. I refuse to let what's behind us today soon become our normal. We are done accepting empty words from politicians for action, and we will continue to fight to make sure this generation is the last generation that has to live with the consequences of their actions. We deserve more, and we're here to demand it. We refuse to let them turn a blind eye. We refuse to be ignored. We are here to make sure they see the faces of the kids they are failing. Senators, guns are the leading cause of death for kids in this country. We are here to beg you, senators, please act. Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away.
Thank you, Avery. My name is Jaden Sirsuin. I graduated last year from East High School, Anchorage, Alaska.
I'm Jaden Christensen. I'm a student at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, Utah.
My name is Neha Bangalore. I just graduated from Middleton High School in Tampa.
We're Students Demand Action volunteers, and we're counting on you, senators, to join us to take action.
No one, and especially not kids, should have to fear gun violence wherever they go.
But in this country, more kids die by guns than by any other means. Kids like the 14 students senselessly murdered in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Harlem.
Or kids like Juanita Lucio, who got shot and killed in Anchorage, Alaska, age 19.
Or kids like Lily Conroy. Lily played softball at Springville High School in my hometown and was just 17 when she was shot and killed by her ex-boyfriend. Senators, please act. Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away.
Senators, we need actions to save our lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaden, and Neha. We're coming to the end of our program today, but we're nowhere near done taking action. We will not stop demanding that our lawmakers don't look away until they take action to save our lives.
That's why tomorrow at 12 noon, wherever you are, we're walking out from our classes. We're taking a stand and forcing our lawmakers to look at us as we demand action to keep us safe.
So if you're still in school, walk out to 64433. That's walk out to 64433. And like I said earlier, it will take all of us making our voices heard together to make a difference. And we're not going to shut up until we get the change we deserve. So to close us out, let's make them hear us one last time. Senators, please act.
Don't look away! Don't look away! Don't look away!
Senators, we need action to save our lives. Text walkout to 64433 to join us on Tuesday. We will be back here on Wednesday at 11 to demand action and to make sure that you